So Buckminster Fuller said, create a new system that makes the old system obsolete. But how do you do that? I mean, how do you make an old system obsolete? What's something you could do right now? What's this revolutionary act you could do right now that's not at war? Like we always think, oh, we need to go to war at things, when you really don't. It's just revolutionary to go in a totally different direction and ignoring the old paradigm completely. It's in that ignoring that it withers away the old. It's taking our power back by making those different choices and not waiting for anybody to give us direction or to give us authority to do that, but just going ahead and going for it. The whole thing is that old system wants to continue to control, and the way to bypass that is really just from working directly with each other. And then that control that they're trying to utilize, trying to put into place, becomes obsolete, because if you can directly work with another person and you're not out of a job if you decide to vocalize something or make a decision, then your way of living, your job, isn't at risk in doing that. And then you are free to make choices and meet with people and really go in directions you want to go. And in the end, it's the power of the people, because if people are all going in those other directions, withering the old media, let's say, as an example, if everybody's flocking to all these other places and withering the attention span, well, that attention is what withers the old paradigm. And so that's why it's so revolutionary to just go ahead and do that. Don't wait, just do it. One way to do that is by digging deep to who you are and what gifts you have, what kind of things you know that could help other people. And there's this temptation, I think, to go ahead and think, oh, well, they're doing it, and so it's already been done, and there's a bunch of other cases where it's already been done, and so really my voice in this whole thing is obsolete because, well, it's already been done. But in fact, there's your voice. It's leaning into your voice. That vibration that will actually touch people in a different way than others do. And sometimes ideas presented only the way you can, by leaning into your voice. Sometimes ideas presented in that way will reach people that wouldn't have been reached by the other popular elements that are out there. So it's figuring that out and saying, okay, let me lean into my voice. Let me see what my voice is. Lean into that. Find that gift. Find that passion and connect it to utility. Things that people actually pay for that keep them up in the middle of the night and make them sweat bullets. If you can find some utility in all the combination of that, and there's no one right answer, and some people deny that any and all of that is possible. Who cares, right? What you need to do is delve into it, because there are people who actually go that direction and find what they need. The path to that is obviously your own. But what's unique, or what's important, is that you do go on that path. Because right now more than ever, we're being buried by that old system. And there's so many things that are happening that are so cool. And people that are making it happen. But that could be you. That could definitely be you. It's creating content, creating offers and community, and directly involving other people. It is revolutionary. It is what will get us to the next level. And the thing of it is like, well, how would you do that? And there are tons of books, online courses, one book's being from Graham Cochran, who has How to Get Paid for What You Know. There are online courses out there. There's the Fletcher method. There's tons of others. And it's finding the ones that align with you. I've got something of my own, the Creative Matrix, with interactive course that you can go through. And the start of that is, finding your manifesto and your core content. And so there's all these resources out there for you. It's really just figuring out which one makes sense to you. But it's definitely important to just start with that. If you're fine not doing it, it's not for everybody. But if you have any calling to that, you should definitely do it, because it will change the paradigm. The more people that do that, the more there's like this tipping point that happens, and we bypass the controls. And that's a beautiful place to be, because it gives us, as a whole collective, many more options than if we just stick with the old way of doing things. One of the strongest things I found is with writing, and one of the books that really has helped a lot is Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way. In there, there's the morning pages and many other tools that open you up to basically communicating with the subconscious. I firmly believe in free writing and getting to understandings from your subconscious through writing itself, through that process. You can ask questions, you can delve into things. It takes some time to really get the writing process to do that for you in a consistent way, but you just have to start, just like with meditation, to just go through it and do it over and over again. And eventually you can ask questions and get answers. And you have to discern which answers are really speaking the truth and which aren't, because there is some garbage in there. But on the whole, there's direction and there are answers that come which are speaking truth to you specifically and which do answer the question. And sometimes it's a matter of like telling the future. It might give you an answer that's totally true in that moment in time. And then as other decisions are made or other things happen, that whole thing changes. And so, I found that I might go back to my writing and go, well, wait a minute, this didn't happen. And realizing that everything's dynamic, everything's changing. There's a potentiality there that changes as things go along. So definitely free writing and looking at Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way, morning pages, well worth putting time and effort into. Will give back in spades, I promise. So definitely check that out. It's in that digging of yourself, digging into what's there, researching, and being willing to discover along the way what will work. That discovery process is all within analytics, talking directly to people who might consume your content and saying, hey, what was helpful, what wasn't. And really, that whole discovery process allows you to co-create with an audience. It allows you to co-create directly with people who have said yes. And therefore, make iterations and adaptations that allows you to go so much further than if you just say, oh, I have to do this all on my own. And so how am I ever going to do that? Instead, it's saying, okay, well, what's some way I can start? And then in that starting, you get to a place where it has its own momentum. It creates for itself almost. There's a co-creation process that happens. And it's relying upon that, knowing that when you get to the next step, there are going to be answers that come. And not thinking you have to have all the answers up front, like right now, right here. Not that at all. It's taking those steps and trusting the universe, trusting your own capability to get to those next answers and to create content that resonates. And even if it doesn't, adapting until it does. And that process opens doors you wouldn't believe and makes it so you're no longer relying upon that older paradigm. And not only relying upon it, but when you connect with all those other people doing the same or similar things, you get to this tipping point where we're finally like, without even any thought of war, we go in a totally different direction, and that totally different direction gives us everything we need to actually be in a whole different world, because we've left the old one behind by ignoring it completely, going a totally different direction and saying, you know what? We build our own world. We build our own ideas. We create with each other. We no longer rely upon you and your systems of control. And although there are ways that maybe like with guns and stuff like that, the old paradigm is enforced, but I do believe there's a tipping point in energy as well, that the more of us go in that different direction and put our energy towards that, the less likely it is that old paradigm can force things, even in the physical world with guns and all that kind of stuff. It's guns and laws, all that dissipates when the energy gets to a certain level, and when enough people have really just woken up, it changes. It changes everything. It changes just in a car. You can have energy change in a car on a dime. And it's knowing that and taking a writ large that says, here's our society, here's a tipping point that could happen. What ways can I uniquely kind of make that happen, or encourage it to happen, or allow it to happen, open it up to that occurring. And for me, I really totally believe in creating communities, online communities, localized communities, and those communities are what really just map it out for us. And in a discovery process with each other, not necessarily in the sense of, okay, well, this is what's going to happen. It's let's get together and discover what's going to happen. Let's get together and co-create towards that outcome, that vision, that energy that's there. Definitely. And if you're in doubt, I think if you're on the fence, spend some time in nature, quietly listen, and just ask, And I think if you spend enough time there in that silence and really listen, I think you'll get your answer. And it's not for everybody. Not everybody's going to do this. Everybody's got their own direction to go, right? But if there's any inkling, any calling there, go for it. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.